Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. Let's get open for business, and let's wake up the football gods here. Wake up, guys. So here we are on another Monday. Monday that is a short week for our Dallas Cowboys. They were on the practice field yesterday, getting ready and getting the game plan together for the Chicago Bears. A big game for us, but this is crazy. We are 6-6, and the reality is we could lose this game to the Bears or the next week to the Rams and still be playing for first place in our division. And it literally scratches your head because if we end up making the playoffs, you're talking about playoffs? Yeah, playoffs. We would be having a home game against Seattle, Minnesota, or Green Bay. Wow. Wow. That is almost crazy to even think about. But here's the thing. The Cowboys looked out that our division stinks, that the Eagles went down there and lost to the Miami Dolphins. So we can no longer, I do not want to hear any longer that we lost to the Jets. That we lost to the Jets. The Jets now have 4 wins. Not great by any stretch of the imagination. Still a disgrace for the Cowboys. But you lost to the Miami Dolphins. This after getting a turnover on the first play of the game on the 18-yard line. And then to have them turn around and try an onside kick that you recovered in the second half. You had the breaks and still lost. But in the end, it's all going to come down to the December 22nd game. Circle your calendar, unless the Eagles just continue to implode. They got 2 games against the Giants, the Redskins, and us. We'll see what they do. Us, we got the Bears, we got the Rams, we got the Eagles, we got the Redskins. And we haven't exactly been playing good football ourselves. A little better than the Eagles maybe, but still have not been playing great football. But here's the thing that's interesting. Let's go back to the Bears. The Bears have the same record as we do, 6-6. Think about that. Think about that. We like to think that we're the Dallas Cowboys. We're great. We're America's team. And yet we have the same record as the Chicago Bears, 6-6. They don't have a quarterback. That's the amazing thing. You can't call Mitch Trubisky an NFL quarterback, at least not a competent one. And yet they have the same record as us. But wait, there's more. Think about this. Pittsburgh lost their quarterback week 1. Had Antonio Brown leave, and they've had injuries to the running back, wide receivers, everything else. Those Pittsburgh Steelers have a better record than our Dallas Cowboys with all of those injuries. We always say that, Dak Prescott can't win unless things are perfect. I'm not going to put that on Dak. I'm going to put that on Jason Garrett. When a team loses their starting quarterback, wide receiver, running back, and things like that, you don't expect them to win. And they started off terrible. But they have righted the ship and now all of a sudden have gotten on a roll. Friends, that's coaching. That's coaching. Mike Tomlin is head and shoulders better at making adjustments and getting a team to respond. A lot better than Jason Garrett. The Cowboys, we got a top 10 running back. You got the NFL passing leader right now. You got a top 5 wide receiver in Amari Cooper. You've got some of the most paid talent in the NFL, yet the Steelers that have lost everybody have a better record. Let that sink in for a minute. Let that sink in for all you that keep saying that the players have to execute. Well, the players have to be taught what to execute, and it has to be something that will succeed to make it a reality. Because to me, this team seems to lack fire. It seems to lack passion. Seems to lack creativity. Seems to seems to be missing so much discipline. Even, when you have your cornerbacks pulling a guy's helmet off by the face mask and getting 15 yards, when you have so many miscues and penalties, that all goes back to coaching. Because, see, Bill Belichick is always going to find a couple of things that will give him advantage. Just a couple of things. Like knowing that your special teams are garbage, and that if I try to exploit that, I'm going to get good field position or maybe even a block punt. And it ends up being that that's the difference in winning the game. Because Tom Brady and crew, they didn't go up and down the field on us. The defense actually did a pretty good job. But it was finding that weakness, that Achilles heel, that pain point of the Dallas Cowboys that the coach is responsible for. The Texans last night did what we wish we could have done, which is get a signature win, that you end up beating New England. The funny thing is only, I think, 6 times in Tom Brady's career that he's been held under 7 completions in the first half of a game. Last week was us keeping Tom Brady with less than 7 completions in the first half. Another time was last night with the Texans. They get the win, we get the loss. It's that simple. Goes back to coaching. And speaking of coaching, we talked yesterday. It was great. We had Cowboys crunk in the house while we were watching the Eagles implode. And we were talking about Chris Richard. The question I had about Chris Richard is, as we think about Chris Richard last year was a hot coaching candidate, head coaching candidate, going into the offseason. But I said that it seemed like his star had tarnished some because of what's happened on the field. And I equated or asked the question, did Chris Richard regress because, in fact, we kind of have 2 defensive coordinators? It's kind of like saying, oh, we got 2 starting quarterbacks. No, then you don't really have 1 starting quarterback. Is it Chris Richard following Rod Marnelli's defense and he's not able to implement his? Or is it just that Chris Richard ended up regressing? See, that's where you kind of wonder, is it a difference in philosophies between them? I look at our defense, and I don't see it as aggressive as, say, a Seattle's defense. And that may be because Chris Richard doesn't have the confidence in his cornerbacks the way he did with the Richard Sherman and the Cam Chancellors and guys like that. It may be that he hasn't gotten the talent the way he likes to be able to use them to really have his system work. And it may be that our defense has just been figured out because it's been the same defense since 2012. I think some of it is actually a philosophy problem because we have, as Rod Marnelli said, racing lizards. Real fast guys. They're light, they're quick, they're agile, they can move around. And that's great if you've got a team that's constantly passing. But the thing is we have teams that realize you're better off running the football because you'll catch them in a stunt, or they're not heavy enough to drop an anchor and be able to stop somebody. That, and of course, we can't seem to get takeaways. So, from some regard, when you think of the Cowboys situation, and part of the reason why they may not have wanted to fire Jason Garrett right now is because they want to keep Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. They want to get Chris Richard to become the defensive coordinator, because Rod Marnelli may be headed to, greener pastures because of his hip, and he will be taking over. And if you elevate either of those two as a head coach, if you're looking at getting Lincoln Riley, then you're going to lose one of those. I don't know what the grand scheme is, but we're going to have fun all offseason figuring out who's going to be the next guy and what changes are going to happen. But clearly, it's time to make some changes, because to think the way we do things here in Dallas just isn't working. It's just not good enough to be able to evolve. And as you see other teams that rise and fall, you saw the Eagles peak and win a Super Bowl. Now they're coming back down to earth, and they'll probably rebuild and start going back up. You see the Rams, who peaked and things and went up the mountain and went to a Super Bowl and lost, and now they're coming back down to earth. They'll probably reload and start all over again. You see this cycle of teams that come out of nowhere. That Baltimore was terrible last year is now all of a sudden great. The 49ers that were in the basement last year now as a number one seed. Yet the Dallas Cowboys are just kind of stuck right there in the middle, year after year after year. And I think in order to get out of this rut, you're going to need to start and wipe the slate clean. It's just going to have to be the way it is. And you may end up having to go down before you can go up. But we'll see what happens. Right now, we could still make the playoffs and at least have a playoff game to talk about before a new coach. I'm Mark Holmes, and I got to go get this hot water heater in, and I'll see you guys soon.